cherish every chance we get to chat about our red tails of World War II. At a critical moment in history, our red tails set an example of courage, sacrifice, and achievement that has remained exemplary over time. Most red tails were teenagers when the winds of World War first swirled over Western Europe and drifted over the Pacific to Pearl Harbor. By modern standards, the world of pre-war teenagers, particularly the red tails, was primitive and quiet and decidedly uncool. No TV, no internet. Few families had radios or private phones. Newspapers and news flashes at the movies provided their world news. However, big, brightly colored posters were everywhere, on telephone poles and in public buildings, schools, stores, shops, and at the movies. They demanded attention from everyone. Everyone responded to the posters. Uncle Sam in his tricolored hat pointed his finger and said, "I want you!" And thousands of young men reported to the recruiting centers. Posters did not discriminate. They told everyone, buy war bonds, observe blackouts, plant victory gardens, support your USO. A slip of the lip can sink a ship. Join the Navy, join the Marines, join the Air Corps. When future Red Tails visited Air Corps recruiting officers, their service was rejected. They were reminded that they were colored and could not serve beside other Americans. The utilization of colored servicemen during World War II was initially based on a War Department study of 1925. Colored people were found to have a smaller brain cavity. They were less intelligent, less brave, and less trainable. That unscientific, unprofessional fiction delayed full mobilization of colored citizens in many specialties. Many senior military officers knew better, but they were not heeded. Battle records from Bunker Hill to Verdun, France for World War I were also ignored. Headstones of 23 United States colored troops in Arlington National Cemetery, just 2 miles from the War Department office, cited award of the Medal of Honor for valor in the Civil War. The blood of freemen and slaves were shed in battle to save the Union, discrediting all attacks against colored patriots. When Air Corps training for coloreds finally began at Tuskegee, Alabama, some of the original volunteers were too old for admittance to the training program. The 99th Pursuit Squadron was activated just for coloreds. Tuskegee Army Airfield was constructed just for coloreds. Cadre for the 99th Pursuit Squadron came from the 24th and 25th Infantry. Therefore, they had a militaristic background. Mechanics for the 99th were selected from high aptitude, high IQ volunteers, most with college credits or degrees. They set the highest class average for graduates of the aircraft maintenance courses at Chanute Field. Pilots of the 99th were the survivors of the most intense flight training and scrutiny. Good and excellent cadets washed out. Only the exceptional survived. This pertains only to the 99th, that first unit. Commander for the 99th was Captain Bill Davis, Jr., West Point, 1936, rated 35 in a class of 276. His request for flight training upon graduation in 1936 was denied because he was colored and there were no colored squadrons, so there were no other plans to ever have any squadrons for colored. He then became an infantry officer. He entered flight training from his assignment as commander at Tuskegee's ROTC training detachment. He was one of 5 trainees to finish in the first pilot training class. 5 out of 13 finished. Delay followed delay in assignment of the 99th to an overseas command. Pending assignment, they continued pre-combat training. Meanwhile, an additional fighter group of 3 more squadrons was authorized and scheduled for training at Tuskegee. In rapid succession, A bomber group of a squadron of 4 squadrons was also authorized for colors as soon as facilities could be made ready at Tuskegee Army Airfield. Pilots of the Pioneer 99th Fighter Squadron were emotionally prepared to fight for the right to fight, the right to give their best in defense of their country. The motivation behind each red tail was the hopes, dreams, deeds, and example of their parents. Parents had to cope daily with combinations of social, legal, and economic injustices. They had to keep on keeping on, regardless. I surmise the thrust of their charge to their sons would be, keep faith with your God and your goals. Believe America will be a better place tomorrow because you gave her your best today. The Red Tails were the officers, NCOs, pilots, ground crews, and support personnel of the 99th, 100th, 301st, and 302nd Fighter Squadrons, united under the 332nd Fighter Group. Commanded by Colonel B.O. Davis, he was a colonel by this time, at Ramatelli Airfield, Italy, from May of 1945 until victory in Europe. The 99th had led the way. They learned combat techniques and tactics from Lieutenant Colonel Flip Cochran, Flying Tiger ace, later a comic book hero. After that, they had to learn on their own. They developed expertise in dive bombing and in direct support of ground forces at Anzio and Monte Cassino. They passed their experience on to their brother pilots upon uniting under the 332nd Fighter Group headquarters. On escort duty, the Red Tails chose to stay close to their bombers, weaving back and forth, searching the skies in all directions at all times for intruders. Some other escort groups preferred to sweep the skies in front of the fast-moving bombers and chase down and destroy any intruders. Some 18th Air Force bomber pilots preferred the red tail method and officially requested that they be assigned as their escorts for all of their missions. There was mutual admiration. The Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails, felt very close to their pilots. Once locked on to a target, bomber crews took no evasive action until the signal, bombs away. Red Tails were proud to share missions with such brave and dedicated men. The 332nd Fighter Group appreciated the confidence of their bomber pilots and painted the tail assemblies of their P-51 Mustangs red for easy identification or easy confirmation. No red tail that I ever asked knew why the color red. Perhaps it was a command decision, or perhaps when they needed it, red was the only color paint on hand or at the depot. Each red tail understood that while on escort duty, their chances of becoming an ace was very low. The true dream of every fighter pilot was to become an ace, to have 5 official kills. The Red Tails were committed to their bombers. Bomber safety became an obsession. Red Tails were prepared to trade their fighter for the safety of a bomber, 1 life for the 10 lives of a bomber crew. 332nd Group records credit 450 Red Tail pilots with 1,578 missions. Bomber units credit the Red Tails with no bomber losses on 200 of their missions. Red Tails lost 66 pilots in action. After World War II, the 332nd was deactivated. It was reactivated in 1947 as a part of the 332nd Composite Wing. There was never a 332nd Wing. There was a composite wing, a wing with fighter group and a bomber group. Members of the all-colored 332nd Composite Wing were integrated as of July 1949.